Welcome. Let's take a look at a couple of linear inequalities here. And we'll look at the absolute value inequality where it's an and statement, and then an absolute value inequality where it's an or statement, what the difference is. On this first one, remember that the rules for doing an absolute value is you're going to do a case A and a case B. The case A is the same thing as it was without the absolute value bars, as long as you cleaned it up in advance. In the case B, you take either the left side or the right side, and you make it opposite. In other words, make it negative. Well, what that means, though, is if you're going to do that, you have to take the inequality sign and reverse it. So we're going to do x minus 6 is greater than negative 10. So notice it's two new things. One is opposite sign, and the two is reverse the inequality. So those two new things are what you do here. Now let's go ahead and solve it. Okay, so here I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I'm going to add x is less than 16. Here I'll add 6 to both sides, and I get that x is greater than a negative 4. Okay. Now what happens here, okay, so look at this. Let's graph this. In fact, what we're going to do in order to give the answer as to what x is, in order to solve it, is we're going to answer in interval notation. Actually, I'll show you both of them anyway. We need the easiest way to figure out what to do with this is to actually graph these things. Negative 4, 16. So this is saying that it's all the numbers less than 16 and all the numbers greater than negative 4. But because there's an overlapping area, and if it's an and statement, if it's a less than is an and statement. That means it's only the in-between that we count. That means our result, the x has to be in between these, so less than 16, greater than negative 4. Okay. So I can do this as an answer, or I can recognize that this is going to be parentheses, negative 4, comma, 16 parentheses. So negative 4, comma, 16. And this place, this is interval notation by context. This is not a point on a graph, coordinate point this time. This one is an interval saying from negative 4 to 16. Okay, so this is the solution to that. Now, I will tell you, if you were to take these two and you gave an answer of x less than 16, x greater than negative 4, that is considered wrong. Because there's an overlapping area, you have to show it. You have to show that it's overlapped. You have to show that it's the area that's in between. So that would be correct. If you're not told any different, then you can write it as negative 4 less than x less than 16. And so then that would also be acceptable unless you're told to put it in interval notation, which I'm telling you I want you to do pretty much unless you're told not to. All right, now let's take a look at an or. In an and statement here, we had this in between, and it was a less than to start. Now let's look at a greater than, and this will be an or statement. We're still going to do the same case A, but now in the case B, x minus 6, we're going to do the two changes. Two changes. So I'll add 6, and I get x is greater than 16. Add 6. X is less than negative 4. So now when I put these on here, I get that I'm going all the way this way to negative infinity, all the way this way to positive infinity. So in this case, we do have two separate answers. So here we're going to say that x is less than -4. And here we're going to say that x is greater than 16. And it would be appropriate in this case to put them together with a parenthesis. So if we're going to do it with interval notation, though, we're going to need to show a parentheses here and a parentheses here, parentheses here and a parentheses here. And because it's an or, we have to use a union sign. The union sign means that all the answers here are acceptable. Also, all the answers here are acceptable. So it's any one of these you can pick, or you can pick any one of these, and they're all going to be correct. So in interval notation, it's going to be the -∞ to -4 union with 16 to +∞. And we can say x less than -4. Now, usually we just put a comma. This, I think, would actually be a good place to put a union there, but that's not usually what we're doing, so I won't do it right now. Okay. And here is the interval notation, which is how I want you to solve problems like this. Okay, let's get that. So fix it there. Okay. So those two problems illustrate how you need to make the changes for the case B, and then look at the answer and decide if you're doing a union between two separate parts as an or statement, or if it's the combined overlapping area in it as an and statement. I hope that helps to see these. Thank you for listening and watching.